today and every day is prayer, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's go. Let's go. Today is going to be fun. We have a lot to talk about and a lot to do. Okay, so it is a Friedman Friday. Every Friday is a Friedman Friday. Say hi to Miles. YouTube KBLA delegation as Miles adjusts the mics and the cameras. Say hi to Miles Lowe, keeping everything going. This man runs the board, runs the cameras, and jumps in on the mic as needed while editing spots. He's a phenomenon. Anyway, so it's a Friday, so it's Friedman Friday. On Friedman Friday, what we do is our second hour is dedicated to reparations. Every single week, has been for the past 2 years, and will be for the foreseeable future. So we have that going on. Attorney Nkichi Taifa joins us. She is a longtime reparation activist, an attorney, and a scholar, and I'm really looking forward to going through the UN resolution on slavery and reparations with her. That is going to be very informative, and as usual, you are always invited in. Hour 3, we will hear from the pop, R&B, soul sensation. The band is called The Privilege. If you haven't checked them out, you should. They are wonderful, and it's going to be fun having them here with me in the studio. And right now, it's every other Friday, so you know it's one of them. It's Ed or Sherry or Ed. And today it is Ed Sanders, the founder and president of ES Advisors, a public policy and electoral consulting firm. And he is a contributor here on KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning, Ed.
Hey, good morning, Dominique. Good morning to you. Happy Good Friday.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. It's Easter weekend, too, on top of everything. Happy Good Friday to you as well. I know some people who are superstitious about Good Friday, or they refuse to work on this day. Maybe I should take up that tradition. But happy Good Friday to you, Ed.
Indeed. Looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend. It's the one weekend, like even if you don't go to church any other weekend, Easter is the one, right?
Yeah, that's true. You get the suit out and see if it still fits. And fill the eyes as you walk in for the first time all year.
It's funny because
hopefully that's not the case for listeners of KBLA, though.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my grandma claimed she was an atheist, my mom's mom, but she would make us go to church on Easter Sunday. So I don't believe in God. Or she used to say, thank God if I believed in him. But then she would get us curled up and powdered up and dusted up, unashy, and take us to church on Easter Sunday. So it'll be a great weekend for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which, of course, that would be tomorrow, Saturday. And that's just always, I don't know, it's such a sad occasion, but it's also like, I feel like it's something that we have a responsibility as people who hold the microphones to remind us as this gets further and further into the distance. He was murdered in 1968 on April 4th.
Yeah, that it's always interesting. It predates me, but I can always recall different sermons on Easter that in some ways reference Dr. King, as if the calendar is about right. He was killed, maybe 2 weeks prior to Easter that year. And so you see a lot of sermons that focus on those themes of resurrection. And it's hard not to connect Dr. King in that space. It just is. But ultimately a time for reflection, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of Gen Xers are born right around the time that he was murdered.
Hmm.
And, you know, and so for the millennials and younger millennials, Gen Z, Alpha, I guess we have some little baby betas now too. Um, that's exactly my point. It's like we have to speak out on it, whether it's our generation or not, because this is the history that our country is trying to erase right now, and it's getting further and further into the distance. Um, Next year um, will be what? My math isn't that good. Miles is good at math, but it's going to be no, it'll be 2028. I guess it'll be like 60 years or something. And that's
Yeah, I was about to say, what are you doing at 6 in the morning trying to do math?
that's you know I trust my brain even with things I'm not good at. But the point is, I think when these things get further out in history, it's easy to just take the sort of Black History Month sanitized version of what happened or of someone's life. And I don't think this administration would try to take down the King Monument in Washington, although you never
You
know.
don't?
Well, no, because I think they believe that um, they would have riots. Well, maybe they don't care about that. I don't know. I don't think
I
they
don't think
would
they
because
care.
I think it would make it harder for them to argue that they're not white supremacists. But maybe they would. Um, and at least we have that monument there. But I just think that the history, yes, because you see more and more Republicans now trying to claim King's words and King's legacy, even though they stand for everything he worked to overcome.
Yeah, I mean, like even allies claim King in ways that are distasteful. It this season is also sort of the precursor to June primaries, and you often get allies running for office that pop in the black church, on those campaign runs, and the microphone they're often quoting. The only quote they offer is a Dr. Martin Luther King quote, as as some matter of reference for black people to show them that they understand, black affairs. Um,
Yeah.
that portion of his legacy, because he's such a national icon, just it always requires us as African Americans to be more deeply educated, learned about the civil rights movement, the the fights that had to take place within that movement to achieve successes, and be able to tell where the movement was going. I think people hold up and I'll say allies hold up this idea of nonviolence. That's the one theme you should take from Dr. King's life, and that's one of 1,000 themes that you should pull once you've studied the civil rights movement in detail. So.
Yeah, of course, anti-war is another big one, right? One of the main reasons he was vilified and stalked and labeled a communist by the FBI is because of his stance against the Vietnam War. And so I can only imagine what Dr. King would be saying and doing today with a war in Gaza, Iran, Ukraine, and not to mention the bomb and control campaigns going on the motherland. Um, and so, one of my inspirations when I think of Dr. Martin Luther King, who actually made the ultimate sacrifice for his country, being assassinated on April 4th, 1968, is to take a stance for peace always, to always be a voice for peace as part of my patriotism. I think that's part of my patriotism. I don't think it's un-American or unpatriotic. I think it's because we love our country that we don't want it to do terrible things, war crimes, neglect the poor in this country while bombing those in other countries. That's not the America that I signed up for. That's not my America, and that's the America that I will fight for, is the promise of America. And I think that's what ultimately Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his life for. Got a lot to talk about and a lot to unpack. Apparently, the president thinks he's back on The Apprentice. He's firing people right and left, and some big people. Ooh, we got a lot to talk about. It's KBLA, Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-242-1551. That's 800-242-1551. 800-242-1551.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, Ahmad supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. Ahmad provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
They say time flies when you're having fun. The founding members cohort is now officially over. Hard to believe. It's been a joy sharing what I've discovered after nearly 40 years of conversations with presidents, cultural icons, and game changers in every field of human endeavor. If you missed the first cohort, the good news is that we're already planning the next one. Now the seats will be limited, and those on our waiting list will receive exclusive early access and special discounts not available to the general public. So, if you are ready to transform the way you connect, lead, and build trust, do not hesitate. Go to TavishTalks.com and join the waiting list today. That's TavishTalks.com. The next cohort is coming. Make sure you are in the room. I'm Tavish Smiley, and I hope to see you there.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Right now, talking with Ed Sanders. You know, a few years back, I went to Memphis, and there was a massive march. I'm pretty sure you recall this. It was one of the things that Bridge Street Incorporated, the company, the socially innovative entertainment company of Martin Ledlow put together. And it was pastors and unions and all kinds of folks marching in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his final speech, and of course, marking his assassination. It was a massive march, and I was honored to be part of it along with his son and granddaughter. And I was looking now today, and it's amazing how we think about Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday because it's a national holiday, and there's all of these prayer breakfasts and days of service and parties and parades and all kinds of stuff. But there's really a lot of commemorations of April 4th and April 3rd as well. More than you might think. They're happening all over the country. People doing laying wreaths at various sites at his memorials. And I was right. This is the 58th anniversary of his assassination. So I was thinking that 28 will be 60 years. And there's just a lot of them. Even in Miami, there's a wreath-laying celebration. They're happening all over, in New York, of course, in Atlanta. And I think for me, it's heartening because I feel like it makes it harder and harder for them, by them I mean the Trump administration, to erase his legacy. So that's a beautiful thing. One thing I did not realize either, Ed, is that MLK only has one grandchild. The young girl the young girl that we saw, she's an incredible speaker.
Yeah.
And she just did her cotillion debut, apparently, about a week ago. Yolanda Renee King. Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it from the lineage standpoint, but just sort of that's a big wow going forward, right? To carry that line forward. But I was listening to you and agreeing with you on the point of the remembrance of April 4th. And some people might look at that as sort of the morbid side of it, but it's also an acknowledgement of, if you were in America on April 4th, when you remember where you were when you heard the news. And Martin Luther King's death was one of those moments of that generation. I can almost look to John F. Kennedy's death as well in some version of comparison. I couldn't tell you John F. Kennedy's birthday, but I can tell you November 22nd, right? Mm-hmm. And you remember the day that he was assassinated. At least I hope that's the day. Those moments are jarring for the American experience, and so I think it's right to sort of keep that lasting remembrance going.
November 22nd, 1963, 12:30 p.m. Yes, you are correct.
Is that right?
Yeah,
wow. Look at me remembering from history.
But Yolanda Renee King, I knew she was a great speaker. I knew she's an activist. I've seen her speaks. And it's clear that she's the granddaughter of Martin Luther King Jr., but I didn't realize she was the one and only. So you're right. That's a lot to carry, but she seems to carry it with grace. So Pam Bondi was fired, Attorney General, United States of America, the poster woman for disrespecting victims of the Epstein crimes, the Epstein crime ring. And I think a lot of people saw that coming. The president shows signs when he's getting ready to throw somebody under the bus. He was angry about her handling of the Epstein files, reportedly, and he was blaming her for it dragging on, which is, I don't know that that's right, but she certainly was terrible.
Yeah. I mean, Pam Bondi has been Um, it's not enough just to call her a disgrace to, the office. She's kind of a disgrace to being an attorney in general.
Yeah.
Unintended. But she's been prime theater for President Trump. When she would get called before congressional committees, her, her her constant fighting with Democrats and calling them out, and just sort of this bombastic tone that she always struck. He liked that, and he liked that of her when she was the Florida Attorney General, and that's why he wanted her as his Attorney General. She carried for him, these notions that were in his mind on how he would use the Justice Department. And frankly, in a lot of ways, I'm surprised the justice system withstood it, right? Some of the prosecutions that she brought against, his adversaries or nemesises, and the way the courts threw those out almost immediately, she hasn't been successful in carrying out,
but I mean, who would be? A lot of those are, I'm not defending Pam Bondi, but a lot of those are just ridiculous lawsuits. You know what I mean? Like the one against Letitia James. What even is that? It's the Trump revenge agenda. And there are ridiculous cases, just like his election denial cases. So, I mean, not to defend her, but I don't know what attorney other than Superman can get any success with those stupid, ridiculous cases, which, he now he's fired Noam and Christie. I mean, Noam and Bondi, and it's like, okay, the throwing of folks under the bus begins. We remember this from the last term, but it's interesting that he starts with these two women who were doing terrible, immoral, and ridiculous things that were clearly coming from the president.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And each one of his secretaries does the same.
True.
It's not, those two made the news, it's also, I've heard that, he's looking at replacing Tulsi Gabbard. I have no idea what's true, what's not true, in terms of news.
But that buzz has been going on for a
administration.
while. Yeah, the Tulsi Gabbard buzz has been going on for a while too.
Right, exactly. And so, it's his vendetta against women, it seems to be playing out as well in his sort of cabinet firings. He's moving through between Pam Bondi, Noam, and if it is Tulsi Gabbard, he will have taken 3 women out of his administration.
Yeah, could Melania be next?
Right.
Oh, wait,
exactly.
he didn't appoint her. He married her.
She could be appointed head of immigration.
Yeah, right. Or the Department of Education, LOL. But no, I mean, I do think it's very much part of his whole MO to throw women under the bus. But you're right. Any single person in the cabinet could go on any given day. And honestly, she's terrible. But look at who he's replacing her with. I mean, he's replacing her with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who is the same guy that went to visit Epstein's sidekick, Ghislaine Maxwell, in prison. And then she got moved to a fancier, cushy Club Fed. So the fact that he's the guy, I don't think that makes the Epstein thing go away, Mr. President.
Yeah, no, and it's so wild that this all ties back to what Epstein and everything associated with that, right? That storyline continues, and I think will continue to shape our politics over certainly this year, but probably 2 and even 4 years from now. Everyone who seems to touch this case, and for whatever the reason, has has to act in the, why is there no transparency? Why don't you just put it out? Whoever touches it just holds these files back from the American public. And, even once these files have been released, there isn't any shape of, judicial or accountability for anyone that's been involved in the peddling of these children.
Indeed, it is. We're going to leave it there for right now. We got news, traffic, and sports. Then Ed Sanders, me, and you continue on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The husband of Coral Springs, Florida Vice Mayor Nancy Mateo-Bowen is in custody, suspected in her killing. Mateo-Bowen was the city's first Black and Haitian American woman commissioner, appointed vice mayor in 2024. News of her murder shocked fellow Black Commissioner Joshua Simmons.
My soul is heavy. My heart is broken.
She had been expected to announce a run for Congress. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is under fire after reports he removed 4 officers, 2 Black and 2 women, from a promotion list, with the Pentagon declining to directly address the decision. And rapper Megan Thee Stallion calls her onstage scare a wake-up call. In an update, she was hospitalized during Moulin Rouge with exhaustion and dehydration, saying she pushed too hard, but returned to a sold-out crowd for Thursday night. According to her reps, she will be on stage performing tonight as well. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a rough night Thursday for both of LA's NBA teams. It was really rough for the Lakers, who almost suffered the worst loss in franchise history. The Lakers lost by 43 at Oklahoma City. The worst defeat by a Lakers team is a 49-point loss to Dallas in 2017. On top of that, Luka Doncic hurt his hamstring again. The NBA's leading scorer went down in the third quarter and did not return. The Lakers scheduled an MRI exam for Doncic today. San Antonio gave MVP candidate Victor Wembanyama the night off, and they still dominated the Clippers 118-99. 11 straight win for the Spurs. It's a revenge game tonight in Phoenix for the UCLA women's basketball team in the Final Four. UCLA takes on Texas, the only team to beat the Bruins this season. The Bruins lost to Texas 76-65 on November 26 in a tournament in Las Vegas. 6:30 tip-off tonight on ESPN. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, LA. Tax money is our money. Let's decide how to spend it together. We deserve investments that actually make our neighborhoods safe, like affordable housing, good jobs, fire prevention and protection, and community support programs. How can we make that happen? Join Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and the Movement for Black Lives for the People's Budget Assembly on April 16th. Together, we'll discuss solutions to problems we're facing and make a plan with fellow Angelinos for a city that works for the people. There'll be food, childcare, and great conversation. It's time to demand a budget that puts the people first. Join us on April 16th at 7 p.m. at BLMLA's Center for Black Power and make your voice heard before the Assembly through the People's Budget Survey. Register today at peoplesbudgetla.com. We'll see you there.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Paid for by government. The 1986 to 2021 United States Silver Eagle, the first ever U.S. silver dollar minted in 99.9% pure silver and is the best-selling coin in the world. These original and historic silver dollars have ceased production forever. They will never be minted again. For a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government-struck silver dollars are being released to the public. You can own a full pound of original U.S. silver dollar coins featuring Lady Liberty and the heraldic eagle, never to be struck again. Guaranteed. Call now to secure original United States Silver Eagles by the pound. The first U.S. silver dollars ever to be struck in 99.9% pure silver. Plus, receive a free bonus, an American Collector's Pack valued at over $40 and free shipping with every order. Call 1-800-560-6468 now to secure your full pound bag of United States Silver Eagle coins before they are gone. That's 1-800-560-6468.
Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-242-1551. That's 800-242-1551. 800-242-1551.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you indeed. Ed Sanders is here. You are here. Miles Lowe is here. And it's Friday. You can tap in at youtube.com, KBLA 1580. We are streaming there, and the comments are always just juicy. So you can get in there and say a thing, even if you're at work. Also, we are streaming now on Facebook. Don't forget that. You can find Ed. It's hard to find Ed on the internet, but he's still on Twitter at Edward M. Sanders. It's easy to find me. I've got a YouTube channel. It's Dominic B. DePrima. The B is for Baraka, of course, or DePrima Radio. You can find me everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. My favorite right now, though, Instagram. Okay, so let's talk about it. Does this even make a difference for, I don't think it, Pam Bondi getting, kicked to the curb, you're fired, getting the apprentice treatment, I don't think it really makes a substantive difference for the American people. Am I reading that wrong?
I don't know about that. The Attorney General, is sort of the lead domestic officer in the cabinet, right? Where I don't think this was a particularly strong Attorney General, but they have some wide-ranging ways in which they can enforce laws.
Yeah, but I'm thinking he put in Todd Blanche, which is basically another the male version of Pam Bondi in a way, and just like it's just like with Homeland Security, we get rid of Kristi Noem, and we get this Mark Wayne dude who's terrible. So I just don't know that it makes a difference. I think we're trading one loyalist for another, but maybe I'm missing something.
No, I think you're right on that. There's nothing. I look. They came in with Project 2025 or whatever it was, and they're implementing those pages. Who the face is of the Attorney General actually doesn't matter. They've already told you what they're trying to do. Whether it's stripping voting rights and other things that we hold sacrosanct, they're going to keep trying to do that. It doesn't matter whether it's Pam Bondi or Tom Blanche. In that regard.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, and just the egregious things that the Justice Department. I heard on, I think it was CNN yesterday, where they were saying before Pam Bondi, the Department of Justice was always seen as this pristine, nonpartisan organization that works for the people. And I'm thinking, that's not what I remember in Trump's first term.
I don't remember that in any presidency.
But especially not in Trump's.
Alberto Robles was like this shining,
example. True. Good point. Okay, y'all, you're doing too much. But I will say, I mean, it's not the Department of Justice coming out of the FBI. The partisan prosecutions and the revenge list just seems to be so much more blatant now. And they're not even trying to mask it. It's like, okay, yeah, we're going after Trump's enemies list. I mean, you read about Nixon and his enemies list, and it was like, oh, I don't have an enemies list. But it's clear that this president does. Right now, what Kash Patel and the FBI is trying to do to Representative Eric Swalwell. Now, Swalwell, to me, is very conservative as a Democrat. So it's not like I'm, Swalwell fangirl, but I just feel like what they're doing is not right, which is, trying to release information from old investigations, which actually don't even focus on Swalwell. It focuses on some woman that he dated, Christine Fang, or Fang Fang, who apparently was I don't know if he dated her. I think he did date her, but she definitely fundraised for his campaign. She was definitely a friend, let me put it that way. But she was apparently working for the Chinese government, but when he found that out, he cut off ties. He was not accused of any wrongdoing, and now the FBI is investigating what happened 10 years ago and threatening to release these documents as he's running for governor. And to me, that seems very problematic.
Yeah, I try not to care too much about that, other than the story will be the story.
I mean, why are you trying not to care too much about it? Okay. Let me play a little hardball here, Fred. Ed, if it was your friend Antonio Villaraigosa, would you feel the same way?
I think that
Our
association
friend.
game. Yeah, but I think this you're guilty by association. The more the story is out there, I think more people can see what is real in a story.
Some people
that they're just, yeah, true. But I think I'm of the mindset, I want to know more about it, and just, my point on it at the first was that I actually I'm not a big Eric Swalwell fan. I don't know very much about him, so I don't know much about this storyline.
Well, I know he supported Prop 36. That's all I need to know. That's all bad for me. But I'm just saying he is a candidate in the governor's race, and for them to weaponize old information that the FBI has and release it right now to derail his campaign, I think that's a problem. That's like a political hit job. And I don't care if I'm a fan of you or not. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I can understand that. if there's something out there on you and it comes to light, it comes to light.
But Ed,
that's
it's
part of
Kash Patel who's deciding which files to release and which to hold back. So it's not like, it's a fair partisan.
You act like I'm a big fan of Kash Patel. I don't think Kash Patel is on the up and up. I'm just saying if there's a storyline there and and it went nowhere, then fine, it went nowhere. The point is,
but what I'm
like
saying is that Kash Patel can
race.
curate what he puts out there, and he can make it look like there's something there when there isn't something there. It's not like, we're going to put out all the facts and then the public can decide that there's no story there. Who knows how Patel is going to shape what he releases?
Okay, I mean that's fine.
And Ed is unflappable today, y'all.
No, I mean, I think others that have stood in Trump's face, like a Letitia James, are facing far greater, trials and tribulations than having to overcome this storyline. This doesn't.
I mean, that's fair. But the Department of Justice went after her. They went after her with charges. They're not doing that with Swallwell because there's nothing there. They're just trying to sully his name. And I just think it's a slippery slope. I feel like they're going to, especially like right now, today is the day that Martin Luther King Jr. gave his last speech. He was targeted by the FBI his whole short life, which was only 39 years. And now we've got this clown in charge of the FBI, a literal social media influencer clown who decides what documents and files to release on whom in the middle of campaigns. I think the Department of Justice, it's like 60 days, and the FBI that they're not supposed to do investigations or release anything 60 days prior to an election, right?
Right, like Comey did.
Yeah, right, exactly. When at the time on the radio, I said that was a coup because I felt like by him saying he was reopening the investigation into Hillary Clinton, he basically dashed any chances that she had because, just a few percentage points here or there. Now, I get it's still more than 60 days out from the June 2nd primary, but not much.
Not much. But maybe I'm just accepting it now that it's it's just part of American life that the FBI director, is going to play dirty pool in politics. We started talking about Dr. King, and it's not like the FBI wasn't doing this stuff then.
True, but I mean, at least they were not doing it so blatantly and on such a widespread basis. You know what, Ed? I love your calm in all of this, but part of my alarm here is that I don't think it's okay to normalize this. I feel like we have to point out all the time, this is illegal, potentially illegal, this is problematic, this is not normal.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's probably where I've gotten really jaded on this whole thing. It just, but to be clear, the Eric Swalwell story just doesn't hit for me relative to like what Comey did to Hillary Clinton. It just doesn't. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's not at the same levels. Although Swalwell at the moment is polling as the leading Democratic candidate, which is also a whole other show for another day. Maybe next time you come on, we'll see where we are in this California governor's race, which is actually making me lose sleep right now.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple of weeks back, and I was too calm then, and now I'm kind of looking up like, wow, geez, it really does look like two Republicans might get in the runoff.
It really does look like California might be going into the sunken place. Gee, wow. Do I flee now, or should I wait until Kash Patel comes knocking on my door with a hockey stick? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not to be an alarmist, but I also, I guess that's why we have me and we have you. Calm and not so calm. When we come forward, I want to get your very super calm take on Whiskey Pete's firing of General Randy George, who is the chief of staff for the U.S. Army, in the middle of, a war. at least one more. I want to get your thoughts on that, what it means, and how we can process this. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
58 years ago, a bullet tried to silence a dream. It couldn't. On April 4th, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was taken from us. Not because he failed, but because he was winning. Winning the fight for a nation determined to live up to its promise. That fight didn't end then, and it can't end now. California is the most powerful state and the most powerful country on earth. But right now, too many people are being left behind, priced out of their homes, locked out of opportunity, told to wait for justice that's already long overdue. Dr. King didn't wait. He taught us the fierce urgency of now and acted. Now it's up to us to carry that same urgency today. We need leaders who will fight the triple evils of poverty, racism, and militarism. Not someday, now. On this anniversary, let's honor Dr. King the only way that truly counts, by doing the work. Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass. And affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is connecting you with services and solutions. Domestic violence and family violence is when someone in an intimate or family relationship tries to gain or maintain power and control over another through a wide range of abusive behaviors. Every single act may amount to abuse. Abuse can take on various forms: psychological and emotional, physical and economic, and sexual abuse. The Genesee Center Incorporated is a nationally recognized nonprofit domestic violence prevention and intervention organization, housing women and children from 30 days up to 2 years through emergency and transitional shelters. The Genesee Center also provides support services like mental health counseling, life skills classes, computer training, job referrals, after-school programs for children, field trips, tutoring, and comprehensive direct legal services. If you need help or you'd like to donate or volunteer, call the Genesee Hotline, 1-800-479-7328. That's 1-800-479-7328, or visit Genesee.org. Everyone has the right to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
Well, I'm looking forward to our Freedman Friday with attorney Nkechi Chaifa, but man, I got about 30 more stories that me and Ed need to cover. We need another hour in between 6 and 7 and 7 and 8, but it's all good. I guess we'll get to them next week. Really, I mean, it's just, okay, so anyway, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, who likes to call himself the Secretary of War, has fired the Army Chief of Staff. Apparently, General Randy George was on Hegseth's nerves. I mean, it's really what it comes down to. I'm reading in the New York Times how they didn't have any substantive differences in terms of military strategies, although apparently General George objected to Hegseth going in and removing 4 people from the list of 29 Army officers who were meant to be promoted to 1-star general. And of course, he removed 2 women and 2 black people out of a list. The rest of the list was pretty much mostly white men. And so this General George went in and objected to this, refused to do it, asked for a meeting with Hegseth. Hegseth refused. So now this guy's out. What do you make of that? I mean, in the middle of at least one war, really arguably several, for a person with very little experience to be firing the Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to who Pete Hegseth is, right? And, you know, I don't think he's wavered one bit on his ideology around the role of women, the role of particularly African Americans in the U.S. military. He does not want to see, you know, and makes it really clear that this is a white man's military. On top of that, he layers it in with, you know, his own warped sense of religion and Christianity. I hesitate to call it Christianity.
Yeah, that speech where he was calling for violence is really, creepy.
Yeah, just disgusting. And so, you know, this is Pete Hegseth, right? And this is what you get. The chief of staff was a senior attaché or assistant to Lloyd Austin, you know, the African American defense secretary under the Biden administration. And so, you know, it's been long thought that he was going to be removed at some point. There was a deputy role that Hegseth had filled underneath him, and so it was just a matter of time. And I think this was just that opportunity.
I mean, which is DEI in a sense, right? If you go through a list of people slated for promotion and you cherry pick out the black people and the women, that's DEI, right? Mm-hmm. You're giving an advantage, you're giving an extra advantage to white men. That's a form of DEI, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not diversity, but it's going in and tipping the scales. That's really not DEI. DEI just means everybody gets a chance to apply, but it's their white man's DEI.
Right. Exactly. There's the white person, white male victimization that fuels so much in this country right now. You can see it in just about every post on social media. You know how these white guys feel aggrieved about the world, and that's who Pete Hegseth is, right? It's a big part of Project 2025. It's a big part of Trump, and you know. Sadly, this guy's his military career has come to an end behind this foolishness.
Yeah, well, for now.
In the middle of a war.
Right. I mean, and that's why I said that I put it that way, because to me, Pam Bondi, okay, you know, Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, same thing. With a top military general, chief of staff, you know, it may affect the American people. Who knows what bozo they're going to put in there, you know? And then, not that I'm pro-military, but you kind of do want people who know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, for me, it's really more you look at the role that the military has played for us in terms of advancing equality in this country. And, you can't not underscore that, right? Like, segregating and desegregating the military was a big step in this country. And when you can show that blacks and whites and Latinos and Asians can serve together under one flag, it really means a lot to this country. And when you've got folks in there that are tearing at that very core fabric of who we are, it's a shame. It really creates a secondary citizen type environment for us.
Yeah. Well, Ed Sanders, we'll have to get to those other stories, like what the heck is happening with these rappers right now, on another day. Thank you so much for chiming in today. Thank you so much for your work.
I hope all enjoy Resurrection Sunday this weekend, and looking forward to seeing you next time.
Absolutely. Happy Easter, one and all. Freedman Friday next. Attorney Kichi Taifa joins me on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The husband of Coral Springs, Florida Vice Mayor Nancy Mateer Bowen is in custody, suspected in her killing. Mateer Bowen was the city's first black and Haitian